Hello and welcome to lesson 1 on the snare drum. Hope you're ready to get started today because we're going to talk a little bit about how to set this thing up and how to hold our sticks and kind of start playing here after our first lesson. So I want to get started by talking about the ways that you can hold the snare sticks. Okay, you've probably seen drummers play before, and there's really two ways that you can hold the stick. The first is what we call matched grip. Okay, and in matched grip, both hands look the same. Notice that my right and my left look identical, like two pairs of matching socks. They look alike. The other type of grip is referred to as the traditional grip, and it looks something like this. The left hand is a little faced upward in the palm, and you slide the stick in, and it looks like that. This grip actually has some historical significance because back in war days, when people would go to war and fight in battle, some people would wear drums across their body with a rope, and the drum would kind of hang down, and so it was easier to play the drum kind of like this. If you look at some old Civil War footage, maybe in your history classes, you'll see a picture of a drum, and usually somebody's playing the drum like this. And as we kind of moved along in our development, we were able to create a stand to put the drum on, which made it flat. And as it became flatter, it was really easy to play with your hands kind of matched. The matched grip allows us to use this grip on the xylophone and on timpani. You can play it on drum set. You really play it on any percussion instrument, this matched grip. Traditional is a little limited in its usage. You can play snare drum. You can also play drum set. So it's a little bit more limited, but both of the grips are very well known, and you have to pick what's going to be used in your situation. For this video series, we're going to use matched grip. Okay? So we shall move forward. The first thing I want to talk about is the height of the instrument, whether it's your drum or whether it's a pad. In my case, I'm kind of using a pad for the video. A lot of people say, well, when you get your pad together, it should be about as high as your belt buckle, and that's a good reference point. I think I can define it even a little bit more. What I do with my students is I have them stand up and put their forearms parallel to the floor. As you can see, mine are kind of parallel. And then I ask them to dip them down about 10% or so. Boom. And that's kind of the really good angle to play. So once again, I just kind of bring them up to the parallel to the floor, and I dip them down about 10 degrees. If you get your pad too low, then you end up playing with your arms really straight, and that's kind of hard on your wrist. If you get it too high, then your elbows kind of come out there and you get all this kind of tension in here. So it's real important to have a relaxed posture when you're playing the drums, and it really starts with the height of the pad. All right, now we're going to talk about holding the stick. But before we do that, let's talk about the stick. The snare drum stick has three main parts. It has the tip or the bead of the stick. It also has the butt end, and then we usually refer to this part right here as the shaft or the shoulder of the stick. And it's used from time to time on special occasions. So most of our playing is going to be done with the bead of the stick striking the pad. So once again, this is the bead, the shoulder, and the butt end. All right? So when we hold the stick, we're going to grip it probably about an inch or two from the butt end, which is going to put us about 5 or 6 inches from the back end. You don't want to grip the stick too far up, because if you do, you're going to have too much counterweight back here. You need to have just a little to kind of make the stick do what you want it to do. If you hold it, once again, if you hold it too much in the middle, it's not going to work the way. I have a lot of students, that's kind of what they do because it makes the stick lighter and easy to turn. but that's going to come with some problems down the road. So really only have about an inch or two showing. Now, if you go all the way back to the back, you're going to have another set of problems because you're not going to have any weight back here to counterbalance, and everything's going to be going forward, and that's going to present a lot of problems as well. So once again, about an inch from the butt, that's where you're going to lay your hand. Now, I want to start with these two fingers. Notice my thumb is kind of flat against the stick, kind of like that. And my index finger goes directly behind it, not in front of it or not behind it, but directly behind it. This part of the grip is known as the fulcrum. Okay, and it's real important. I'm going to say it one more time, the fulcrum. And it is where you get a lot of your power and a lot of your control. Because let's face it, out of your 5 fingers, if we had to pick the 2 strongest, it's probably going to be these 2. So you want to make sure that you have a really good base for your grip, and it comes right there. What do the other 3 fingers do? Well, they do have a job. They're going to be more important as we kind of proceed into our learning, but for right now, their job is to rest gently on the stick. I'm going to say that again, rest gently on the stick. If they squeeze the stick, that's going to be no bueno, no good, because that means the stick is not going to be able to move, and we have to let that stick move in our hands a little bit. Not like this. We don't want to just let the horse out of the barn just going crazy, okay? We got to kind of keep our fingers around the stick. So notice when I play, see how the fingers are kind of moving with the stick, and notice my fulcrum is secure. That's what it's going to look like, all right? And now I want to move to the hand position, like what our hands are going to look like when we put them over the drum, or the pad in this case. So notice that my angle of my sticks is almost what we call a 90-degree angle. It's not close, but it's pretty close. It looks very close to a 90-degree angle. So we're going to go with that first. If you get too big, like an obtuse angle, your elbows are going to stick out. That looks a little awkward, doesn't it? And if you get too small, like an acute angle, then your wrists are going to rub against your body. This is real common, and that's not good. That's going to lead to problems. So we want to kind of make it closer to 90. One way you can think about it, put your sticks down by your side, and maybe rub your shoulders back, kind of relax a little bit, and then just pick up your sticks like that. See how they just naturally go to this position? You don't do this, and you don't do this. They kind of come right there. All right, so that's what we're going to go with, close to a 90-degree angle. The other thing I would say is that we have to keep our thumbs facing toward each other. It's real important, because if they don't, the hands are not going to be matched. Notice, if you can see, I'm going to kind of stand on my tiptoes so you can kind of see my thumbs. Notice how they're facing each other. Notice now how they're not facing each other, and one's turning this way and one's turning that way. Look at my wrists. They're turning differently. Now you could say, why don't you do that, Mr. Wiley? Yeah, but the thumbs aren't facing each other. See, they need to face each other. So if you roll it around a little bit and then turn it, they look matched, all right? So I'll tell my kids a lot, make sure your thumbs are facing each other. And the last thing I'll say about the hand position is getting back, notice we talk about the thumbs a lot, because that's a real important part of your grip. You want to make sure you don't get a lot of space in this gap right here. We call those, if you start playing on your tips of your fingers, you're going to get these really awkward gaps kind of like this. I see some beginners that try to play like that. No. You want to kind of close those down, and they don't have to be tight, but they should probably not have a lot of space in there. All right, one more thing I want to talk about before we go any further. This was about the grip, and I want to make sure I do cover this on the video. Where you hold the stick in your hand is real important. This may be one of the biggest things I find wrong with beginners, is they put the stick in the hand and it just kind of goes wherever. Notice, if you can see, try to hold my hand like that or on the side, there are really 3 main joints, all right? My stick, when I put it in the palm of my hand, it rests on the first and second joint, not on the third joint. If you put it on the third joint, notice how my fingers, look at all the space now. Then you're going to start playing like this, and this is going to happen. We call this clave snare drum. You don't want to play like that. The fingers need to be around the stick. So in order to get them around the stick, if you put the stick between on that joint, kind of right in between the first and second joint, now the fingers can go around. And notice where. And here's how I can watch. Watch when I turn my stick over. I don't know if you can see from your point of view, but when I rest it in the wrong part, look, you won't be able to see the back of the stick. Watch this. Uh-oh, it's gone. You know why it's gone? Because I'm holding the stick in the wrong spot. Now watch this. If I put it in the right part of the hands, you can see the back of the stick. So if you're practicing in front of the mirror and you cannot see the back of your sticks, that means you're probably holding them like this. Can you guys see that? Look how the stick has disappeared. Now watch. Bam, there they are. That's correct. So you have to be in the right part of the palm. It's a real, real big deal. Now we're going to talk about how to hit the drum. We've talked about getting at the right height. We've talked about how to set our hands. Well, what do we do when we play? Okay, let's just play. Let's see what happens. Let's try it. Here we go. So 8 on the right hand and 8 on the left hand. Follow me. Ready? We're going to do 8 times on the right and 8 times on the left. And just turn your wrists. See what happens. Oh, 1, 2, ready, go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that was fun. Put your sticks down. We're not quite ready for that. Let's talk about how this is going to go. Real important. I want you to put your arm on your pad, kind of like this. I want you to stabilize this arm, and I want you to turn your wrist. Okay, and just do that over and over for a while. Notice that when you see me do it, that I'm only using my wrist. Because since I put my arm down, you could use your pad, you could use a dinner table, you could use the end of your couch, wherever. You could even lay down and just make sure your arm is stabilized and you're turning your wrist. Same thing with the other hand. See that? Over and over. Now, it's just like knocking on a door. If I knock on a door, that's the motion. What about dribbling a basketball? Same motion. Right? When you knock on a door, you don't do this. You're pounding on the door, and that would hurt, by the way. Okay, so you knock on the door like that. Or if you dribbled a ball like this, that's not going to work out too well either. So you're going to do this. Dribbling the ball, knocking on the door. Same thing. That's going to be our motion that we're going to choose. So let's go back and try 8 on a hand again. And just using the wrist. Try not to jab with your forearm. Here we go. Ready? Oh, 1, 2, ready, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's pretty good. It's getting better. Now, when you guys are sending me videos, I usually hear something like this. What's wrong with this? Sounds kind of soft, doesn't it? Well, there's a reason why it's soft. There's 2 reasons. One is I'm not using enough wrist. You know, it's kind of like, you know, when you work out, if you don't put enough weights on the machines, you're not going to get much done. So if you're going to get something done, building up your wrist, you're going to have to turn it. All right. You don't have to turn it like this far back, but just a good healthy height, like 9 inches, about right up to there. But the other thing that I'm doing is, this is a real important item here, and that's called velocity. I'm actually throwing the stick to the pad, and I'm using lots of, like if I was throwing a ball. If I was throwing a ball, I'm going to put a lot of velocity. And I can kind of demonstrate this another way. Watch this. Everybody stand up. And put your hands together about this far apart, like Mr. Wally. That's maybe 9, 12 inches. And on count, I'm going to count you in. I want you to clap when I count you in. Ready? 1, 2, ready, and. Do it again. 1, 2, ready, and. Now do it again, but make the clap louder. Same distance, but make it louder. 1, 2, ready, go. Try it again. 1, 2, ready, go. So how did you do that? Well, you moved your hands faster together. You didn't have to wind up to here to do it. You just pushed them together faster. So that's what I want you to do when you drum. I want you to throw it to the pad with a little bit more velocity. Let's try the same exercise. 8 on a hand. Start with the right and then go to the left. Here we go. I'll count you in. 1, 2, ready, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow, those are sounding like some good strokes. Now, you got some wrist turn and you got some velocity, and that's sounding really, really good. So I'm going to give you your first assignment for lesson 1. It's going to be that exercise, 8 on the right hand and 8 on the left hand. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use the metronome that you downloaded for me, and we're going to set our metronome at 150, 150. And here's what it's going to sound like. So I'll count you in. We're going to stay right with the metronome. Ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Awesome. Now do this for me, because it sounds a little incomplete because we're stopping in the middle of nowhere. Let's play it twice. You got it? We're going to play it 8 times on the right, 8 times on the left, 8 times on the right, 8 times on the left, and give me a stop note. Can you do that? Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Stop. Excellent. All right. So I want you to do it at 150. Then I'd like you to go to 160. Not that much faster. If we go up just a little bit, let's try it right here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Turn your wrist. 5, 6, 7, 8. Use lots of velocity. 5, 6, 7, and stop. Excellent. And we'll go one more speed, 170. That's not that fast, by the way. It sounds like a big number, but it's really not that fast. It would be like knocking on a door like this. Knock, 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 knock. I think everybody can do that. A knock, 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 knock. It's not that fast. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1. That is awesome. Hopefully you know what to do, and I would like you to do that every night for like 6 nights in a row till I see you again. And when I see you in lesson 2, we're gonna take it up a little faster. All right. But review everything we talked about your grip, about the hand position, about the stroke. Remember the height of the pad. A lot of things to think about while you do this. If you forget, go back and watch the video and think about everything that we talked about as you practice the exercise. All right. I'll see you on the next lesson.